guys, and welcome back to another video. So today for the sketchbook session, I said I think last week that I wanted to do at least one spread with kind of like the most recent sketching method that I've been doing, which has been using ballpoint pens. So I have a set of, I don't remember how many colors, whatever I'm showing on the screen, of these Inkjoy ballpoint pens that I've had since my university days, and I've never really used them other than for brief note-taking. So yeah, these are the Papermate Inkjoy pens, and I've been really like pairing them up as kind of like pairs of two. I also have this BIC Ultra, whatever it's called, pen as well, just because my blue one is running out, so I have a spare one that I can use for just, you know, using it for whatever sketches that I want to. And I do like using dark blue quite a bit. It's just an easy color for me to use for sprucing up the sketch to make things darker and much more clear, because it is a little bit more higher contrast towards the dark side compared to some of the brighter colors in this set. But my current blue one, part of the Paper Inkjoy ones, is kind of like low-key running out, but because I don't want it to run out completely, I am going to be using the BIC, what's it called? Roller ball stick grip or something like that. So that is what we're going to be doing today. I like to choose two colors for these just because it's easier for me to think about what I'm sketching rather than thinking about what colors look good together. So for the most part, I chose to draw a character that fits kind of this color scheme just a little bit. So I am drawing Hiro from Ensemble Stars. So this is Amagi Hiro, and he has like stark red hair. He also has a little bit of some either white and black outfits or kind of like a teal, gold, and black. And for most of the colors that kind of veer on the darker side, so let's say dark blues, blacks, anything like that, I'll be using the dark blue for. And any of the lighter colors such as like gold, obviously the red, and any probably shading for white as well, I'll mostly use the red color to shade with. So because red is lighter than the dark blue that I have ink-wise, I am going to be sketching with the red. It also just works out because red is warm toned, so it's much more easier for me to pretend the shade with it for any kind of skin tone shading. So like on the face, blush, everything like that. I was drawing actually Tsukasa a little bit earlier, so he's another character from Ensemble Stars, and he also has red hair, but it's a little bit of a different red hair, and his color scheme's a little bit different, and he has purple eyes. So it's easier for me to kind of use both the red and the blue together. And this pen, I am not sure why, like the red one more specifically, it just has like so much ink, so when I do some larger areas where I'm filling in what I would consider like solid areas, it turns out pretty flat, which I actually really like the contrast. And I think I mentioned in the previous Akemi gouache painting video was that I saw an artist use, I think it was the blue and the red ballpoint pen for a few sketches. I think I saw it briefly in someone's Instagram story. I wish I kind of screenshot so I could refer to the artist again, but I actually forgot to, so I don't know who the artist was or what particularly how they were using the style with the ballpoint pens and stuff, but they were using basically just two colors, and they had mix match both red and blue, probably because they're very common. Also, they look great together. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. And I am not going to be introducing any black color like I usually do when I do kind of these limited color palette sketches or sketch pages and stuff. So but you can see like when I mix the red and the blue together, we kind of get a either dark blue or more of a deeper purple that kind of gets really dark. So I can kind of take that to my advantage if I would like to make something a little bit more of that higher, punchier contrast. On its own, it's kind of vibrant, but I'm trying my best to leave the red areas untouched other than the outlines, and then I will shade in with the red. And then any other area that's meant to be black, I will shade with the blue, but I don't go as even as the red. I just really like how punchy this red is and how well the ink lays on the paper so that it appears really smooth. Yeah, I think that's probably about it in terms of the reasoning on why I chose the red and the blue. I have done some previous spreads, one in a previous sketchbook, but mostly in the sketchbook that I've used, I think the green and the orange for a Masaki spread. And to kind of like together, it makes more of that muddier brown color. Oh, but you can see here, so if I take my time to actually really place my lines closely, kind of fill in the white gaps, you can get a nice consistency of like a flat red color. So you'll see that quite a bit for the hair for the most part. That's because that's where I used to kind of just concentrate most of the color into in a more of a smooth area. And I tried my best to plan out the highlights a little bit, but the more I shade with the red, I'm also covering up a lot of those sketchier lines, so for the most part they're not too in the way for the most part. But back to the color combinations. So I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pens minus black, so about 7 colors that I can kind of like play around with. And I usually have like a scrap piece of paper where I'll do a little bit of scribbles and kind of test out which colors I think look nice together. I do like pairing the warmer colors or any color that's close to, let's say, yellow to red, and any of the cooler colors, so anywhere between purple and green. I kind of like mix matching them just because the warmer colors tend to be good for shading the skin without making it look too unnatural, and a lot of my warmer colors tend to be also on the lighter side, so it's easier for me to sketch with. I think color-wise, the lightest one is the yellowy orange color that I have, and then it would be magenta, maybe the green, and then I think it's the red. Oh, and the light blue as well. So it kind of alternates here and there, but I do like to at least pair up a light color with a darker color so that we can kind of achieve a difference in value, but also color, but also it's just easier for me to keep things looking a little bit more cleaner because I like that in my sketches sometimes. But I also like the sketchy lines to be somewhat present, and sometimes it's unavoidable. So yeah. But some other spreads, I've paired up the dark blue that I'm using right now alongside with the light blue, and that looks really nice. Light blue for sketching, dark blue for details and pushing the values. And then I've also done the magenta color and I think dark blue once again, which kind of gives it more of a purpley vibe. So I used the magenta for sketching, dark blue for the lines. I've also done obviously the green and the orange. I think green was darker than the orange, so I used the green for the outline and orange for the sketch. And then what else did I use? I think that's mostly it. I do like using black, but I've just recently found my black Inkjoy pen, so maybe I'll use it a little bit more. The other ballpoint pen that I used to use, which is the Pentel RSVP ballpoint pen, it's a little bit more similar to like a mechanical pencil, so it's much more fine, a little bit like less ink is dispensed, so I don't really like using it to kind of finish up drawings as much anymore. I do think I want to see if the Inkjoy, the black one, would dispense more ink so that I can use it to kind of fill in larger areas to make it a little bit more poppy rather than kind of just this mid-tone that I'm getting from some of my other ballpoint pens. So I'm trying to look at my sketchbook. I've used black and green before as well for Tea Netty. I think that's it. Oh, yellow and dark blue. I think that's why I was drawing Akemi in general. So the yellowy orange color and the dark blue also looks really nice together. So I did a few spreads with that as well. And I feel like I have like a love-hate relationship with this current sketchbook that I've been using recently. I've talked about it in past videos where I've been struggling getting used to the fact that this paper is a little bit more, it's like higher quality, it's on the pricier side, so I feel much more precious. There's also not very many pages in the sketchbook, so I feel a little bit too pressured to draw in it sometimes. But me using ballpoint pen, there's kind of like a point of no return at some point, but also because the colors are very bold, I find it very attractive and fun to use. But even though I say that, my favorite sketching method technically is still pencil, but pencil on this paper, I do like it and it handles it very well. I think it's just like I need to shift my mindset of how I want to use it. I was very used to using the kind of like notebook paper in my notebooks that had like much more thinner, they had many sheets of paper, so I didn't feel pressure to use it. But the way it takes pencil is very easily, so when I place down a mark, it's like I have to be very conscious to be able to put down light marks, and then I wouldn't have to put too much effort to make things become darker, so it's easy for me to render things, bring things up to a certain value without me feeling like I've been spending too long on a certain piece. But in this sketchbook, it's a little bit harder for me to get the darker values, and I think sometimes when I decide to put in all that pressure and all that effort into making something fully rendered, I get exhausted from that piece very, very easily. So I don't think there's actually too many graphite pieces in this particular sketchbook. I've been mostly painting, I've been using markers, any kind of coloring medium to kind of fill up space as well. But the ballpoint pen kind of, I feel like it's kind of between what I like about both of those pieces of paper, where it's like the color is very vibrant. I can get very soft and like very light lines so things aren't too jarring, but I'm also able to just put a little bit of pressure and I'm able to bring it up to a certain value, which I feel looks nice and crisp. So I don't have to go back and forth and make things look really dark, which is why I don't use the Pentel RSVP pen as much either moving forward with the sketchbook. And that being said, I'm almost done with the sketchbook. I think I have 5 spreads, and I think by the time you watch the Akemi gouache painting session, I think I had 6 pages or 6 spreads left. So I'm actually filming this one of Hiro on the same day that I did the voice recording, which is why there's not really a discrepancy in terms of how many pages I actually finished. But now that I'm thinking about it, hopefully the sketchbook tour will be in early May, most likely, because I was thinking that I could get it done for the end of April. But even if my last page for the sketchbook is going to be recorded and uploaded prior to me doing the sketchbook tour, it means that this one will probably be the first Monday of May, which probably means the following Wednesday, or like the Wednesday right after that Monday will probably be the sketchbook tour. So I'm gonna aim for May. Like I said, I have about 4 or 5 spreads left that I need to finish before I can move on. And I still haven't technically chosen which notebook I'm going to be using for my next sketchbook. I do want to use one of my newer designs, so we'll see which one I end up using. Also, to keep my sketchbook kind of even, I placed 2 stacks of like sticky notes, because like I said, I'm nearly at the end, and whenever my sketchbook lays flat, it's kind of uneven in terms of how it's laying, because there's like a humongous gap between the desk and the back cover. So I like to place something behind it, which I use the 2 piles of sticky notes just to even it out. So luckily I had that so it doesn't continuously angle itself downward. I only ended up doing 3 sketches for this spread, so apologies that it's not too much, but I felt it'd be fun just to draw Hiro in I think a few of his outfits. So the first one I think is just like a casual outfit, more towards like winter-ish, and then the second one, which is like the larger one with the hands, is his kind of like stage outfit. I also gave him a little like handless mic. I don't know what you call that, the mic that comes from like your earpiece or your in-ear or whatever it's called. So that's what I have. And then after that I have Hiro in his school uniform right here. So yeah, just kind of mostly cool tones, so I'm coloring or shading with the blue and then kind of keeping that red to be very poppy for his hair for the most part. So I was actually debating whether or not I was gonna choose a Genshin character to sketch out, because I haven't been drawing too many Genshin characters in my sketchbook. Now that I think about it, I actually don't know what exactly I've been filling my sketchbook up with. It might be OCs, it might be just some random stuff, a bit of planning. Because I feel like I've stepped a little bit back from doing Genshin fan art and a little bit of VTuber fan art just over like the last few weeks probably, or the month or so, just because I needed a bit of a break from drawing characters that had so much details. Also, I misspelled Hiro's name, so luckily me putting in the dark blue, you can't really notice that I spelled it Hiro rather than Hiro, so hopefully that makes sense. Also adding little stars at the very end just to fill up the rest of the gaps. I'm gonna see if I can do a few more spreads with a few different colors to end off the sketchbook, but they probably won't be for future videos, so hopefully by the time I show you guys my sketchbook once again, it will be the final page, like basically the back page alongside with the pocket that I'll actually paint Wonu, because I'm gonna match the front cover and the back cover. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's session, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!